Exposed. My daughter's husband discovered a hidden treasure in my home that changed everything forever. In a cozy suburban town, the scent of fresh-cut grass floated through the air like a warm embrace, welcoming neighbors into the fold of a community that thrived on kindness. But for Sarah, a single mother in her late 30s, this idyllic setting masked a deeper struggle, the weight of loss and resilience. As a nurse at the local hospital, she dedicated long shifts to care for others while shouldering the responsibility of raising her spirited daughter, Anna, after the sudden death of her beloved husband, a noble war veteran. Life had become a balancing act. Each day, she fought poverty and the shadows of post-traumatic stress, yet held on to the belief that hard work and integrity could carve a path through grief. Then, on a sunny Saturday, Anna brought home her new husband, Jake. With his easygoing nature and smile that lit up the room, he embodied a carefree spirit that unnerved Sarah. Underneath the warm hellos exchanged over lemonade in the backyard, tension smoldered. Sarah sensed the unspoken division between their worldviews, his privilege clashing with her tenacity. While clearing out the attic, intending to rid the space of clutter, Jake stumbled upon a dusty trunk. Curiosity got the best of him. As he opened it, the treasures inside revealed a saga of love and sacrifice, the letters, photographs, and keepsakes from Sarah's late husband's life. Each item breathed with stories of dreams and aspirations. They unveiled the heartbreak Sarah had carefully tucked away, the ambitions that had fallen prey to grief. With every glimpse into her past, Jake felt the pull of empathy as he began to grasp the depth of her experiences. But he was conflicted: share these treasures with Anna, or shield Sarah from the storm that could erupt? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the community prepared for a gathering intended to foster unity, Sarah's heart raced, a chance for connection, and yet, a face-off with buried memories. Meanwhile, Jake wrestled with the moral weight of his discovery and its implications. Should he honor Sarah's late husband by revealing the letters? As he took the stage that evening, tension hung thick in the air. When he revealed the cherished artifacts, the room gasped, faces lit with recognition, others darkened in judgment. Change rippled through the crowd, igniting conversations meant to bridge gaps, yet burdened by lingering prejudices. In that moment of raw vulnerability, Sarah felt the walls begin to tremble. Would she finally dismantle the fortress she'd built around her past, or would the burden of exposure hold her back? Their family stood at a precipice, facing the legacy of love and sacrifice, and the heart-wrenching question lingered: can forgiveness lead to transformation, or would the scars of yesterday forever dictate their tomorrow? As the gasps faded into whispers, Sarah's heart pounded against her ribcage. She watched the crowd's mixed expressions, some filled with intrigue, others with judgment. The treasures of her late husband lay exposed, vulnerable like a wound reopened. How could Jake have shared so much without her consent? Was he trying to bridge a chasm or widen it? Jake's voice broke through her swirling thoughts. He spoke about love, about sacrifice, about how the letters revealed not just her husband's life, but also the unwavering strength of the woman who had remained. These aren't just artifacts, he said, holding up a tattered letter, its edges brown with age. They're a testament to what it means to endure and to fight, to love and to lose. Anna stood by his side, her eyes wide, taking in the words as if they were a lifebuoy amidst rough waters. In that moment, Sarah felt an overwhelming tide of emotions crash over her. Would their revelation bring relief, or would it dredge up the painful past she had fought so hard to bury? As the evening wore on, murmurs filled the room. Close friends gathered around her, some with hands gently resting on her shoulders, others offering comforting words. Yet they could not understand the maze of hurt and pride swirling within her. She wanted to scream, to express her anger and fear that their moment of vulnerability might fracture her fragile world. "Mom, are you okay?" Anna's voice, full of concern, cut through the noise. The way her daughter looked at her, filled with worry, stuck to Sarah's heart like glue. Should she explain her hurt, her anger at being exposed without warning? Or should she wear the brave face she had mastered all these years? Finding her voice felt like dragging a heavy anchor. I just need a moment. Navigating through the crowd felt impossible, and as she excused herself, she saw the curiosity brimming in the eyes of her neighbors. What were they thinking? Did they view her as the grieving widow caught in a web of longing, or a wallflower hiding the pain of loss? In the dim light of the hallway, away from prying eyes, Sarah leaned against the cool wall, closing her eyes to steady herself. Memories surged in waves, dancing in the kitchen with her husband, laughing until their sides ached, the warmth of his embrace, and the sweet scent of his cologne. It was all slipping through her fingers like sand, and she was terrified. Suddenly, Jake stepped into view, his expression earnest but conflicted. "I didn't mean to upset you, Sarah. I thought it might help. I thought they would see what a remarkable person you are." She wanted to scream at him, didn't he? He realized that her past was a shield, a barrier she needed to survive each day. Instead, a small part of her softened at his words. "You don't understand the whole story. Those letters, they're not just pieces of paper. They're the echoes of my grief, the shadows of memories I thought I could forget." Jake stepped closer, the earnestness in his eyes unwavering. "Maybe you need to share those echoes, Sarah. Maybe it's time to let people in. I know it's scary, but scary?" Sarah interrupted, her voice shaking. "You think I'm scared? No, I'm terrified. This is my life we're talking about." In that charged moment, Sarah saw not just Jake, but herself reflected back at her, a woman caught between what was and what could be. Could forgiveness lead to transformation? Or was she risking too much by opening her heart again? As the music from the gathering drifted through the hallway, a thought lingered. Sarah leaned against the wall, contemplating the depths of her own heart. Perhaps the real treasure was not just in memories of the past, but in the possibility of healing. But would she have the courage to embrace it? Sarah's breath hitched in her throat as she pushed herself off the wall and took a moment to collect her thoughts. The anger still simmered beneath the surface, but alongside it was an undeniable spark of something else: curiosity. Maybe Jake was right. Maybe sharing her past could help her make sense of it. But the idea terrified her just the same. Without realizing it, she was slowly inching toward a decision she wasn't sure she was ready to make. "What if they don't accept me?" she mused aloud, her voice barely above a whisper. "Accept you?" came Jake's voice again, softer now. "They already do. You're a part of their lives, Sarah." He took a cautious step closer. "You always have been." "Have I?" she questioned, her heart racing. "I've been a ghost in my own home, Jake. I've locked away my memories like they were secrets. You think people want to hear about the woman who lost everything? They want to know the real you. They want to understand. Maybe by sharing that hurt, you find the strength to stand tall." Together, Jake's gaze bore into hers, and for a fleeting second, she considered it. Together, the word hung in the air between them. Was that what she truly craved? Connection that ran deeper than shared sorrows? "Anna needs to see you unguarded too," he said. "She needs to know it's okay to feel, to remember. You think you're protecting her, but hiding won't help her grow. It only builds walls." The thought of Anna, her sweet, innocent daughter, made the knot in Sarah's stomach tighten. She could envision her resting her head against her as a little girl, drawing strength from her mother's embrace. But if Anna didn't see her mother's strength, where would she draw from? Would she inherit the same fears and secrets, locked away like ancient artifacts? "I don't want to repeat the past," Sarah admitted, her voice trembling. "Not now." "Then don't. Make this the starting point." Jake smiled gently, his sincerity warming the air around them. "Share your story on your terms. You control how deep the digging goes." Taking a deep breath, Sarah felt a shift within. She could picture the crowd again, the familiar faces that had shared meals and holidays. Maybe they were not just curious spectators. Perhaps they were willing to help her carry this burden. But Jake, what if the weight of uncertainty loomed large? "What if I crumble? Then we pick up the pieces together," he said, stepping even closer until Sarah could see the concern in his eyes turn to hope. "You've carried this for so long. It's time to lighten the load, just a little." She glanced down the hallway, where the gathering continued, unaware of the war raging within her. What if they truly wanted to listen, to understand? Her walls were crumbling, piece by piece, and for the first time in years, She sensed the stirrings of something delicate, yet powerful a possibility. Okay, she replied, her voice firmer now. I'll try. I won't promise perfection, but I'll try. As she turned to head back, a wave of vulnerability washed over her like a sudden storm. It was a leap, and perhaps still a risk, but that familiar ache of grief began to loosen its grip, replaced by a flicker of longing for connection. Returning to the gathering, Sarah felt an electrifying mix of dread and excitement. Would this be the moment that changed everything? A sudden thought struck her: what if revealing herself also unearthed layers of stories and emotions she had not yet come to terms with? What if uncovering the past opened doors she'd rather keep shut? As she stepped into the warm light of the room, a question echoed in her mind. Would her revelation bring healing, or would it unleash a storm of unforeseen consequences? The warmth of the room enveloped Sarah like a soft blanket, but that comforting sensation stood in stark contrast to the whirlwind of emotions swirling inside her. As friends and familiar faces gathered around tables laden with food, the chatter created a backdrop of normalcy. Yet, for Sarah, it felt surreal. Her heart raced as she approached the group, each step a resounding drumbeat of both dread and hope. "Hey, you made it," Anna called out, her voice pure sunshine. The sight of her daughter's bright smile opened a door that had long been locked in Sarah's heart. "I was just telling everyone how much I missed you." Did Anna know how much Sarah had missed her too? The thought cracked open a small beam of light through the fog of her uncertainties. Gathering herself, Sarah offered an encouraging smile, her nerves still bubbling beneath the surface. "Of course I'm here," she replied, forcing her voice to steady. "I wouldn't miss it for the world." As they found a spot in the corner, Sarah felt more eyes on her. The serene faces of family and friends felt heavy. It was like standing at the edge of a cliff, staring down at the unknown depths below. So many times, Sarah had brushed off thoughts of sharing her truth, but it was different now. Perhaps, after all this time, it would be okay to let them see her. "Do you want me to get you something to drink?" Anna asked, her voice tinged with concern. "No, honey. I think I need to say something first." Sarah's heart thudded. The room fell quiet, all eyes shifting toward her. In an instant, every person she loved was looking at her, the weight of their unwavering attention both comforting and terrifying. "What is it, Mom?" Anna's eyes widened, reflecting a mix of curiosity and worry. Taking a deep breath, she felt a surge of warmth from the memories they all shared, a community filled with love, challenges, and resilience. "There's something I've been holding on to, something that's been a part of me for too long." The words trembled on her lips like fragile petals in the wind. Jake leaned against the wall, his steady gaze offering unspoken support. She could see in his eyes that he believed in her strength, and somehow, that made this moment a little less daunting. In that silence, Sarah wavered. She opened her mouth to speak, but old fears resurfaced. What if her truth drew lines between her and those she loved? What if unearthed grudges or painful memories shielded them from her? "This won't be easy," she started, her voice breaking slightly, "but I think it's time to share my story. Not just for me, but for Anna, for all of us." The murmur among the crowd deepened with intrigue and concern, yet she could see a flicker of understanding in their expressions. "What do you mean, Mom?" Anna pressed gently, urging her mother to continue. Trembling, Sarah reached for deeper courage. "I've been hiding, afraid to relive my past, afraid of how it might change our future. But I don't want to be a ghost anymore. I want Anna to see me, not just the parts that shine, but all of me." A weight shifted in the atmosphere. As the reality of her words settled in, Sarah could almost hear the echo of her own fears dancing in the air. But amid that fear, she also felt something else: a collective breath, a gentle reminder of love and support from everyone in the room. "Starting now, I want to share everything, even if it hurts. I want you here with me." With that declaration, a new layer of vulnerability began to peel away. Was it the beginning of a new path? Would they accept her wounds, or would she find herself even more isolated than before? As she met their gazes, she felt a flicker of hope spark in the corner of her heart. Would her honesty pave the way for a new bond of trust? Or might her revelations lead to more scars than healing? By revealing the burdens she had carried alone for so long, would she forge deeper connections, or would she create divides she couldn't mend? The room was thick with anticipation. Sarah felt the eyes around her, a mix of love and trepidation. almost as if they were leaning in, ready to catch her whatever the fall might look like. She forced herself to focus on Anna's face, the one she loved the most, grounding herself in that connection as she took another deep breath. "There's so much I haven't told you," she began, her voice gaining strength. "Things that I thought I could handle on my own. But I see now that keeping it all locked away, it's not just hurting me. It's hurting us." Anna's brow furrowed, her worry evident, but her love unmistakable. The others shifted, exchanging glances that held a tapestry of emotions: confusion, fear, even a hint of understanding. It was terrifying to stand before them, to unveil her hidden self, but Sarah pressed on. "Years ago, before life took me on this path filled with love and joy, I faced some pretty dark moments. Moments I buried deep, hoping I could just move forward and forget." She paused, searching for the right words as if they were drifting just out of reach. "After your dad left, a wave of silence rushed through the group. It was a memory they all shared, a wound that still festered. I went through a lot. There were nights when I didn't know if I could get up in the morning. I thought I could be strong, that I could protect you by keeping all of that hidden." Sarah glanced around the room, seeing the understanding unfolding. "I thought my pain would disappear while I pretended it wasn't there. I was wrong." The moment hung in the air, heavy yet liberating. The realization that they weren't just hearing her words, but understanding them felt raw. She felt the burden she carried for so long start to ease. "Mom, I had no idea." Anna's voice was soft, her eyes glistening with a pool of unshed tears. Their shared connection deepened, threads of love tying them tighter together. "Why didn't you ever tell me? We could have faced it together." "I didn't want to burden you," Sarah whispered, the confession breaking her heart all over again. "But keeping you in the dark did just that. It built walls between us." "You're not a burden, Mom," Anna said, reaching out to take Sarah's hand, squeezing it gently. Her support filled Sarah with renewed courage. "Thank you for saying that. I guess I was just so scared of letting my guard down. But I see now that my silence created gaps, and I don't want to do that anymore." More murmurs arose, and Sarah's gaze swept over the crowd. They didn't recoil. Instead, their expressions reflected compassion and resolve. It was a shift she could feel in her bones, as if acceptance was taking root. "Sharing my struggle, the shame I've held on to, the fears of being judged, it's not easy. But it's time to put everything on the table. I want to heal, truly heal, and I want to do it with you all." A soft smile crept onto Jake's face, his eyes filled with warmth and pride. For the first time, Sarah could see not just the cost of her vulnerability, but its power. The air vibrated with possibility. Just when hope painted her surroundings, Sarah felt a flicker of doubt whisper in her ear. What if they didn't understand? What if her past was a territory best left unexplored? Yet, as her heart raced, she realized that the risk of being open, raw, and human was worth it. Perhaps this was the beginning of something beautiful, an honest connection that could carry them all forward. As she looked back at Anna, ready to reveal more layers of her story, the doorbell rang unexpectedly, startling everyone from their moment of deep introspection. The sweet warmth of her confession hung in the air, but the interruption felt ominous. Who could it be? An unease settled within Sarah. She didn't want anyone else to disrupt their first step toward deeper truth. Could the arrival of an unexpected guest undo everything she had just laid bare? The doorbell rang again, its chime cutting through the fragile air like a blade. Sarah's heart raced, the momentum of her revelation flickering. She hesitated, her thoughts split between the warmth of her family and the chilling uncertainty that awaited beyond the door. "Mom, do you want me to get it?" Anna's question sliced through Sarah's panic. There was a hint of impatience in her voice, but also an understanding that hung thick between them. "No, I'll go," Sarah managed, her voice steadying as she stood. She wiped her sweaty palms on her jeans, summoned what courage she had left, and moved toward the noise pulling her away from vulnerability. Anna's grip on her hand lingered for a moment, a silent reminder of the bond they had just begun to rebuild. Drawing a deep breath, Sarah opened the door, bracing herself for whatever was about to step into their carefully constructed moment of connection. The door creaked open to reveal Claudia, her old friend and neighbor, framed in the twilight. A basket of muffins sat in her arms, the sweet smell wafting into the air. "Hi, Sarah. I thought I'd bring these over and see how you're doing." Claudia's smile faded as she took in the solemn atmosphere. "Oh, am I interrupting something?" Sarah felt a rush of annoyance and relief simultaneously. Part of her wanted to slam the door and retreat back to her family, but she also knew Claudia wouldn't easily disappear. "Not at all," she replied, forcing a smile as she stepped aside. "We were just having a chat." Claudia stepped inside, glancing around the living room as if it were a puzzle to solve. Her eyes flitted over Jake, who gave a nod, then settled on Anna. With each moment, Sarah could feel the warmth of her confession fade, overshadowed by the sudden awkwardness of their intrusion. "What is going on in here?" Claudia asked, peering at them curiously. "You look like you've just come out of a deep conversation." "Just catching up," Anna said, a hint of irritation threading her tone. Claudia's brow knitted together. "Oh, well, I just came to check in. I know things have been a bit rough for you all since." She hesitated, glancing at Anna. "Since everything. Glad to see you're all together." At that moment, the tension in the room was palpable. Sarah caught a glance at Anna, who looked uncertain as if recalling their earlier exchange about keeping secrets. Claudia's presence deflated the room, ticking away at the honesty they had just begun to share. "Why don't you stay for a bit?" Sarah offered, though the invitation felt like a half-hearted attempt to restore harmony. "I should probably get going," Claudia said slowly, but then her eyes lit up. "Oh, I almost forgot. While I was cleaning out my attic, I found something. I think you might want to see it." Curiosity piqued, Sarah raised an eyebrow. "What is it?" "It's an old box I found from when your parents lived here. I thought about just tossing it, but something told me to keep it. It might have some special memories for you." The room hushed, the weight of her statement clashing against the fragile honesty Sarah had just revealed. What was hidden in that box? Would it bring more secrets to the surface, or perhaps reveal something unexpected? As Claudia wandered off to retrieve what she sought, Sarah felt Anna tighten her grip on her hand. "What if it's something?" Anna began, her voice barely above a whisper. "Something that changes everything?" Sarah finished, her heart quickening. The unspoken words danced in the air between them, carrying both fear and a glimmer of hope. Claudia returned with a dusty box, its worn edges and faded lettering hinting that it held stories from a different time. "Will it draw us closer, or tear us apart?" Sarah wondered silently, as the lid creaked open. As the lid slowly peeled back, the smell of old paper and dust wafted out, thick and nostalgic. Claudia set the box down on the coffee table, and the living room felt more intimate, yet more charged. Its contents could easily tip everything on its head. "What's in there?" Anna asked, her voice trembling with a mix of eagerness and anxiety. Sarah glanced at her daughter, and for a heartbeat, the world outside faded away. "Let us find out together," Sarah said, surprising herself with the calm that settled in her chest. She reached for the box and hesitated. Was she ready? Yet, deep inside, a yearning for truth urged her on. With a deep breath, Sarah started sorting through the items. The first object she pulled out was an old photo album. Its cover was tattered, yet there was something striking about the familiar faces inside, her own childhood captured in faded photographs. "Mom, is that you?" Anna leaned in closer, her eyes wide. Sarah nodded, tracing her fingers over a young version of herself. The smile in the photo felt untouched by the burdens of her life today. "I think this is from our trip to the beach. It was a great day," Claudia chimed in, a hint of warmth in her voice. "You used to love the ocean. Things were simpler then," Sarah muttered, feeling the weight of nostalgia like a heavy cloak. But the album didn't hold just happy memories. There were other photos, some of people she didn't recognize, a family portrait labeled in her mother's handwriting that read Grandma's relatives. Chills chased down her spine as she looked at the unfamiliar faces, feeling a distance from her own bloodline. "Who are they?" Anna asked, a spark of curiosity lighting her eyes. I don't really know," Sarah replied slowly, her mind racing. What had her mother hidden from her, and why? The next object pulled from the box was a small, green journal. The leather cover was worn, hinting at years of secret keeping. Sarah cracked it open. The pages were filled with her mother's spidery handwriting, echoing with thoughts and dreams from times lost. As she scanned the words, surprise filled her heart. "There are things here I've never heard." Secrets. Anna leaned closer, a frown forming on her brow. "Secrets? What kind of secrets?" "I don't know yet." The room fell silent, each heartbeat louder than the last. The truth nestled between them felt like an invisible thread binding them together. Yet they were all too aware of its potential to unravel everything. What had her mother known about their family? Claudia shifted nervously, sensing the tension. Maybe she began, cautiously. Maybe it's time to talk about the past, to understand where you come from. Just as the words left her lips, a creaking sound interrupted the moment. They turned heads toward the hallway, where Jake stood, looking more anxious than ever. "What is going on in here?" he asked, his brows furrowed. Sarah's heart sank had he heard them. The revelation shifted on the tip of her tongue, a storm ready to break. "Just some old memories," she replied, feeling guilty, but knowing it wasn't the whole truth. Jake stepped forward, his eyes darting to the box. "What is that?" he pressed. Anna shot her mother a meaningful glance, the weight of their unspoken secrets hanging thick in the air. The darkness of the unknown loomed closer, but this time Sarah felt a surge of defiance. "Just some things we need to talk about," she said, looking Jake in the eye, unwavering. As he walked closer, she braced herself. Was this where everything would change? Could memories built on silence unearth bonds strengthened by love, or would the past shatter them all? Claudia watched from the sidelines, and the uncertainty in the room felt electric. Sarah could sense the tide turning, but whether toward light or shadow, she couldn't tell. Holding her breath, she turned back to the old box. "Let us discover the truth," she whispered, and with that, they would all have to brace for what was coming next. The air felt thick as they huddled around the box, their fates intertwined. Sarah's fingers brushed against the edges of the journal, a trembling anticipation unfurling in her chest. Every inch of her being wanted to dive deeper, but feared what the truth might reveal. "Mom, what if there's something really important in there?" Anna's voice cut through the silence, imbued with a childlike urgency that tugged at Sarah's heart. "I don't know if I'm ready for it," Sarah confessed, her gut tightening. The journal felt like a Pandora's box, capable of releasing chaos or clarity. Jake's curiosity sharpened as he stepped closer to Sarah, his eyes flicking between her and the journal. "What are you waiting for? Open it," he urged softly, the warmth in his voice both comforting and alarming. With a hesitant breath, Sarah turned a page, the brittle paper crinkling beneath her fingers. The words seemed to leap off the pages, a vivid tapestry woven from her mother's life. January 14th, 1983. "Today, I found something in the attic, something that changed everything." Claudia moved closer, intrigue reflected in her features. What did she find? A knot tightened in Sarah's throat as she scanned ahead, her heart racing. Pictures of people I've never seen before. No one ever talked about them. Who are they? I feel so disconnected from my own family. There are whispers of secrets? Anna glanced between them wide-eyed. "What do you think they are?" "I don't know yet," Sarah replied, swallowing hard. But the implications sank in deeper like a stone in water. The shadows of her family tree stretched far and dark, each branch laden with unanswered questions. Jake placed a hand on her shoulder, grounding her. "Whatever it is, we'll face it together, right?" Reassurance was what she needed. But doubts swirled as she turned the page again. February 20th, 1983. "I confronted Grandma today. She didn't deny it. It's all true. We come from a long line of secrets, and I'm not sure how I feel about it." The tension in the room sizzled, tension thickening the air. Sarah could feel everyone's breath hitch along with hers. "What kind of secrets?" Anna whispered, almost afraid of the answer. Before Sarah could respond, a thought crossed her mind, a sudden burst of recognition about the faces in the family portrait. "Wait, these people, I've seen them." "What?" Anna glanced in disbelief at her mother. "There's a woman I think she's related to us. I saw her picture in an old church on vacation once. But I didn't know her name." The room fell into a hush. The possibilities of what those faces could mean stirred a whirlwind of emotions: confusion, anger, curiosity. Jake's grip on her shoulder tightened, a silent promise of support. "We need to get to the bottom of this. All of it. But you have to be ready for whatever comes next." Sarah's heart raced. She hadn't just opened a box of memories, but rather a door to an unknown territory of her life's history. What if it's too much? She questioned, fear creeping in. "Then we take it one step at a time," Claudia gently suggested, her voice laced with understanding. Taking a shaky breath, Sarah's resolve solidified. "Let us keep going." She flipped the page again. March 3rd, 1983. I found old letters. At that moment, the fragile balance of their lives teetered as they leaned in, all senses alert for the secrets that lay just a whisper away. What other truths would unravel, and would they be prepared to face the storm? The room pulsed with an electric tension, everyone leaning closer as Sarah's eyes flitted over the faded letters, the ink a stark reminder of a past that was now crashing into their present. Wrote about a love that was forbidden, she read aloud, her voice trembling slightly as unfamiliar emotions washed over her. She was heartbroken, but she never revealed who he was, just the pain of what could never be. What do you think happened? Anna asked, wide-eyed, her innocence a beacon in the shadowy uncertainty that surrounded them. Sarah paused, the words feeling heavy in her mouth. I don't know, but it seems like there's a story behind this, a reason why she kept it hidden. Jake squeezed her shoulder again, as if to remind her they were in this together. Whatever it is, we'll find out. One step at a time. Claudia's brow furrowed as she examined the letters. Maybe the man she loved is one of those people in the pictures. We should look closely at them. Taking a deep breath, Sarah turned the bundle of letters over, noticing a small envelope tucked at the back. There's something else, she said, her curiosity piqued. As she pulled it out, a thin piece of paper slipped free. It was a faded photograph of a man with dark hair and a charming smile, standing next to a woman who looked strikingly familiar. Sarah's breath hitched. Is that? Anna peered closer, excitement glimmering in her eyes. Is that Grandma? No. It can't be, Sarah whispered, the churning storm of confusion growing inside. She never knew her grandmother had been so young once, so vibrant. The picture felt like a puzzle piece she didn't know was missing. Where was this taken? Jake asked, his voice steady. Somewhere joyful. It looks like, Claudia said softly, her finger tracing the edges of the photograph. Maybe it was happier times. Sarah nodded slowly, her thoughts racing. Who was this man? Was he the one who had captured her grandmother's heart? And why had they never spoken of him? She turned her attention back to the letters, her heart pounding as she read further. She wrote, if my family ever finds out, I fear I might bring shame upon us all. Shame? Anna echoed, her young face a canvas of confusion. Why would she feel that way? Maybe because of the choices she made, Sarah mused, her own heart aching. Secrets often lay heavy, burdens that rippled through generations. What if love wasn't enough then, like it often is now? Mom, Jake said thoughtfully, could this be why Grandma never shared anything about her past? If she was ashamed, she could have tried to protect us, Sarah realized, feeling the weight of their family's silence crashing down around her. But now it seems like those secrets are rising to the surface. We need to know the truth. All of it. Claudia leaned back, considering. But the truth can hurt. Sarah? What if we find out things we wish we hadn't? Tears pricked the corners of Sarah's eyes, each one a reminder of the struggles so many face, yet remain unspoken. It doesn't matter. We have to confront it. If we are to honor her, we have to know her story. Anna crossed her arms, a brave look on her face. Then we need to do this. Together. For Grandma. With firm resolve, Sarah nodded. There was no turning back now. They had started this journey, and there was a foggy mountain of truth to climb. As they gathered the letters and photographs, Sarah's gaze fell again on the man in the photograph. A quiet whisper seemed to resonate within her. This was just the beginning. What if this man is a part of our family? Anna asked suddenly, shattering the heavy silence. Then we have to find out who he is, Jake replied, his determination igniting a spark in all of them. But deep inside, Sarah couldn't shake a feeling of foreboding. The more they uncovered, the more dangerous the waters might become. What if our whole family history has been built on lies? She whispered, her heart pounding with the weight of that possibility. They all fell silent, the enormity of the journey stretching before them like an endless, winding road filled with uncertainty. What secrets awaited them with every turn? As her fingers trembled over the next page, Sarah took a deep breath, ready to delve deeper into the unknown, but was she truly prepared for the depth of revelation that lay ahead? The room had morphed into a sacred space, a hallowed ground for revelations that demanded honesty. As Sarah turned the page, the rustling of the paper echoed her racing heartbeat. Each crack revealed secrets long buried. She felt the gravity of the moment, as if every word she read would unearth layers of truth that could shift the course of their family forever. April 15th, 1983. Today, I spoke with him. Sarah's voice trembled, and she glanced at Anna and Jake, their faces holding rapt attention. The man from the photograph. He didn't just visit. She breathed deeply, summoning the courage to continue. He what? Anna's eyes sparkled with anticipation mixed with dread. He was my mother's first love, but she never mentioned him again after that. The realization sat heavy on her tongue. He was someone she couldn't have. Someone that her family wouldn't approve of. What does that mean for us? Anna asked, confusion knitting her brow. It means that there are experiences we don't yet fully understand, roots entwined in discomfort. Love shouldn't be hidden, yet it often is. Sarah felt the warmth of understanding blossom as clarity washed over her, drawing her family closer. Jake shifted closer. Perhaps your mother's fear of shame kept you from true connection. But now, you have the chance to break that cycle, to reclaim this narrative for yourself. For Anna, Sarah couldn't help the tears that flowed, a release of both fear and relief. By facing this, I hope to reconcile my past and embrace the bright future I want for you, Anna. I never want secrets to overshadow our love. The room felt alive, filled with the richness of honest discourse. This was not just a conversation. It was a vow, a commitment to transparency. Anna squeezed her mother's hand. Then let us find out more. Who was this man? As Sarah turned another page, she discovered her mother's handwritten notes of encounters, brief, but filled with the passion of youthful love, bittersweet moments, and longing. Each entry painted a vivid picture of a love so powerful, yet tainted by societal boundaries. June 9, 1983. He promised to return, but I can't help the fear that grips me as I picture the future. Is love enough when the world conspires against it? We need to find out what happened next, don't we? Jake leaned in, his voice inspiring courage. Sarah nodded, her heart swelling. Yes, let us dig deeper. We owe it to ourselves. With renewed determination, they turned the pages, moving through memories of joy and sorrow. As they uncovered the love story that had once been silenced, a realization blossomed within Sarah. Understanding and honesty breed connection, while secrets only drive wedges between hearts. Then she stumbled upon a letter marked never to be sent. A familiar heaviness clutched Sarah's heart as she read aloud. I can't abandon my family for you. Know that I love you deeply. But what is my love worth if it brings shame to the ones I treasure? That's heartbreaking, Anna said softly, her expression a mix of compassion and pain. It is, Sarah replied, wiping her tears with the back of her hand. But it's a lesson. It's why we need to break free, Jake said. Your mother lived in fear. You have the chance to show that vulnerability can lead to strength. Just then, the front door creaked open, and they all turned with anticipation. Claudia walked in, her face full of understanding and warmth. I had to see how it was going, she whispered, sensing the shift in the atmosphere. Sarah looked up, a grateful smile breaking free. This is where it starts, Claudia. This is where it all begins. Wonderful, Claudia said, beaming with pride. You're unearthing so much. It's time to share this with the community. They need to hear your story, Sarah. Skepticism lapped at the edges of Sarah's excitement. Would they understand? Absolutely, Claudia replied confidently. You carry the strength of generations behind you. Your truth can heal not just your family, but the hearts of those around you. As the warmth of acceptance filled the space, Sarah realized this had always been her fear: being vulnerable, being seen as flawed. But perhaps this was the moment to embrace imperfection, to let light shine through every hairline fracture they bore. Okay, Sarah said with newfound resolve. Let us do it. Together. Energized by the journey they embarked upon, the four of them spent the evening gathering members of the community, those who had always shown care and concern. It felt exhilarating and terrifying all at once. As they prepared to share their collective story, Sarah's heart brimmed with nervous excitement. The treasure in her home was not merely artifacts. It was the gift of truth, the power to connect, heal, and transform families and friendships. On the night they opened the floodgates to their narrative, the warmth of the community enveloped them like a warm embrace. One by one, they stood before their friends and neighbors, bearing their scars and vulnerabilities with an honesty that came from the depths of their hearts. As they shared their family story, every gasp of surprise and every nod of understanding felt like a step toward liberation. Sarah spoke, her voice trembling yet strong. I spent too long behind walls of fear, scared of being judged. But love, vulnerability, and honesty, those are the things that unite us. Anna stood beside her, tears brimming in her eyes. And ashamed remnants of the past don't need to define our future. Jake joined, standing resolute. Let love guide us forward. And in that moment, as they collectively transformed their pain into vulnerability, something magical happened. The audience leaned in, captivated, hearts touched with empathy. Faces once filled with judgment softened as they connected with the nuances of humanity. With each shared glance, the weight of secrets lifted, replaced by unwavering support and warmth. Together, they created a tapestry not just woven of history, but of connection and healing. As the last words left Sarah's lips, she felt an overwhelming sense of peace wash over her. The shackles of her past dissolved, replaced with possibility for a brighter tomorrow. Thank you for sharing, a voice from the crowd echoed, igniting ripples of gratitude that spread across the room. In that moment of clarity, Sarah understood. Vulnerability was not weakness, it was strength. It opened doors, built bridges, and ultimately ignited human connection. As they embraced each other in the aftermath of their truth, a future filled with love, understanding, and hope unfolded before them. Now a story of grief had transformed into one of resilience, a legacy reborn not just from the efforts of one, but from the collective spirit of family and community, shaping paths forward together. Sarah looked around at the warm faces, her heart swelling. This is only the beginning, she said with joy radiating through her. And as she shared the final words with her community, she felt the world shift under her feet, knowing they all stood upon a foundation of love built on honesty. Now, they had the chance to live fully, to honor love, to explore their legacy together as a family, as a community. The journey was just starting, and the future sparkled before them with endless possibilities. If you felt this journey of vulnerability and connection, I need you to act now. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and support this channel. Comment your reactions and feelings about this emotional ending. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.